Howdy, howdy, everyone. It is Ashley and Bill for another mortgage moment. Bill, thanks for hanging out with me today. How are you?
Good to see you again, Ashley. How's everything?
It's all right, man. I've been in some interesting conversations. We're recording this at the end of October 2023. And one of the things I've been asked a few times is, why would anybody even buy a house right now? I should just rent, shouldn't I? ... Fill in the blank. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, very important question. So briefly, I'll touch on a couple of things. One, kind of rent versus buy. That's like the big bullet points of what makes sense, because I think every situation and every scenario for individuals is different. So rent. Why is it good to rent? Well, one is, you can probably find a rental payment that might be cheaper than a mortgage. Okay, that could be something that sticks in someone's head. I've got this much to use. Two, listen, I can stay there for a year and move on, and really don't have to worry about selling a house, things like that. Don't have to worry about HOA stuff, things that homeowners do have to, maybe stress about a little bit, that do own a home. So kind of pros of renting there. And I don't say a lot because it just makes so much more sense to buy a house
Oh, I
on
totally
so many
agree.
levels.
The one pro, and this is going back to my college days of renting, was when my toilet broke, someone else fixed it.
Right? And a lot of times you can mix it in. It's like, I don't got to mow the yard. Fridge and everything's in there. Sometimes utilities are mixed in there. It all depends. But yes, I agree with that. When I was younger, that's the last thing I wanted to worry about.
Right. But now
Yeah.
that we're full-blown adults out in the world, I could ramble on and on about why buy a house, but I sell houses for a living. So I want to hear from your perspective as our money expert. Why should people be buying a house, or should they be renting?
Yes. Equity, investment. It's just, those are big words that come up because a house is something you own. And just like you own stock or have stake in a company or 401k, is your money can give you returns most of the time, depending on what the market looks like. Well, same thing with the house, especially here in the Austin area. Owning a house year over year, it just shows appreciation value for the house.
Mm-hmm.
Austin could average 4 to 6%, give or take. So just think your house value just continues to rise every year. Yeah, some years might go stagnant, but the reality is houses continue to go up in price and value. That's huge right there. Other thing is tax implications. Is you get to write off mortgage insurance on your tax return, less taxes you owe to Uncle Sam every year. That's always a big thing. When you do buy houses, if you buy points and stuff, it's all tax deductible stuff you can write off every year. When you sell, hey, you sell the house, you made some money on it. Do I get taxed on that? Hey, good thing is capital gains from earnings on a house is you don't have to pay anything. If you're married, a couple, anything over $500,000, you do have to pay capital gains, anything under. So good for you when that time comes to sell, because I think, what's the average lifespan someone staying in a house?
5 to 7 years.
Yes. So you're already at that 5-year mark. You're making money. And chances are, depending on your house and where you live in, that you probably might not have hit that 500,000 mark. But yes, no taxes on it. Big wins.
Well, when was the last time you made $250,000 and didn't pay any taxes on it?
I wish I had a lot of stories to tell you. I don't, unfortunately.
Right?
But as I got into the business, it made me think about more past it, and then even investment properties and ways to increase your portfolio. Because one thing that feels pretty straightforward, and I know this is a weird time in the market, I like to somewhat of an anomaly, but the value is there in the house. And if it might not go up 4 to 6% every year, it will go up probably the following year or the next year. So just great value. So I did kind of put together a little data on it for a particular house, buying versus renting. And then let's take a look real quick if you can bring that up. And
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
yeah, we won't ramble on it too much, but it'll just give you kind of the idea of why it makes sense. So all of this is based on a $500,000 purchase, putting 10% down. And then this is comparing it to renting a house and we just put in a number at, say, $3,500 a month. All right. So we know houses can appreciate in value, but guess what? Rents can also appreciate and go up year over year. So we got to
Absolutely.
keep those things in mind. So if you look at the little results page right there, is yes, cash spent. We are putting much more money up front the first year. Okay. And this is all based on 2 years. Okay. A 2-year turnaround, which won't show as much of a return as 5-6 years, like you said, but it does show return. So first year, we put the 50,000 down. We also got to assume our mortgage payments the first year, taxes and interest, all that stuff. So yes, there is cash spent. Below it is what the value is now in the house. Hey, it was 500,000, but guess what? It went up in value. So now it shows estimate about $540,000 is what that house is worth. What your loan balance is, and I'm just going down the line for everyone watching. You can see how much you owe on that, because obviously you paid down some of your principal after you made those payments the first year. And then, hey, we're going to sell. Let's assume some closing cost in there. Shows net of what we're out of pocket, what we're bringing for the $80,000 right there. Renting 2 years, $3,500 a year. We can do the math times 12. Hey, the rents went up. We'll say 6% just to keep it apples to apples with appreciation. 2 years, we're in $87,000 almost in rent spent. So as you can see, there is a gain there of about $7,000. That's just 2 years. That's from buying a house. All right. And later, if you look on the right, you can see as the time goes by, more and more years, look, you just keep spending more and more on rent. You have no equity in it. You have nothing going into it, no skin in the game. So it's just money out of your pocket, like paying it feels like a credit card or loan off, something like that. You're not seeing much value back into it. Where for buying a house, costs are staying relatively flat because your house is earning equity. You continue to earn money on the house. And you just can't talk about that enough. Put your money in a good spot. Protect yourself at the long run, right? When you're older for retirement, even your family. Why not have investment in real estate? It's just a smart idea.
Well, let's fast forward to 30 years down the road, because we're both very young people and we got at least 30 years of living left, right?
Yes.
So if we fast forward to the end, here's the punchline, guys. The cost of that home to buy, $357,000. If you are a lifelong renter, you're spending $2.3 million on something you will never ever own. And if you go look at the data, if you go look up every billionaire, millionaire in the world, they are all heavily invested in real estate. That is one of their vehicles for growing wealth. So what I'm seeing in this illustration, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're going to be somewhere for a year, maybe it does make sense to rent for that 1 year. But if you have no intentions of leaving an area anytime soon, and you're going to be there for 2 years or longer, go ahead and buy the house, because you're going to make money off of it every single time.
Yes, couldn't have said it any better. It's long-term situation. Buying is just, it's the way to go. And you'd be surprised if you thought you could never buy. Have you talked to someone? Seen what
Have
your
you
options
talked to
are?
Bill?
Talk to one of us. We know what we're talking about. Okay. So yes, there's so many different things you can probably make work in your favor to buy a house when you never thought you could. So it just doesn't hurt. It's a conversation. That's it. To get everything started, talk about situations. Listen, I don't make it stressful. Just a conversation to see where you could be. And maybe it's not today. Could be 6 months, could be 9 months, could be a year down the road. But why not set yourself up for some personal gains?
Absolutely. Well, I think that was a great mortgage moment. We hang out every single week and we talk about what's happening in the market, what's going on in the world of real estate. Again, I'm Ashley Tullis. I am your real estate expert here in Dripping Springs, and Bill is my money man. So he is my number one go-to for all things mortgage. You can reach out to me or Bill anytime. The other little programs and things we just whispered about, those are all in our video series on YouTube, so you can revisit those. But feel free to pick up the call, shoot us an email, and we'll get you plugged in. So Bill, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Yes, great talking. Have a great day.
You too, man.